this thing on. Hey guys, my name is Miles, Santa Barbara, California. Welcome to my week 1 presentation. So we're gonna start. Let me bring up the quick, super detailed notes. I'm gonna go with the audio basics, propagation, amplitude, frequency, and timbre. And I'm gonna do these just because there's a little bit of confusion with, at least with some of my friends that are doing this course with me as well. So I just wanted to clear these up. I think from explaining it to them, I think I got a good understanding of it, but I guess we'll let you guys be the judge. So we'll start with propagation. Propagation is basically, it's just the movement of something through something else. Better word for that is a medium. And it's a little trippy to think about that, to think about audio going through air, just because you can't really visualize them. You can't, I guess you can, but you can't literally see them. A good relationship or a good comparison to use is shooting like color dye or a harpoon. That's probably a better one. Shooting a harpoon through water. And you know, the spear would be the sound wave shooting through the air, and the water would be the air, the medium. So you could kind of visualize that, I guess. Slinky was probably better. Regardless, it's propagation in Miles terms. And so we'll move on to frequency. We'll come back to amplitude just because frequency is a little bit, they have a direct relationship. So frequency, if you look down here at the sine wave down here, this one up and down is called a cycle. And frequency is basically how many cycles per second, how many ups and downs a wave frequents per second. So the higher the frequency, the more cycles a second, and the higher the pitch. And then the amplitude is basically just how high up it goes and how high down it goes. I'm just giving you guys a really, trying to give you a visual understanding of it, just because I don't have any audio capabilities right now. I'm trying to figure out how that works. Translating my MIDI synths into the videos. Anyway, we'll move on to that right now. The frequencies and the timbre are directly related, because a frequency will go with a sine. One sine, this is a sine, a C wave, or a C note. It is at 132 hertz. Boom. And really cool thing about Ableton is you can have a spectrum analyzer analyzing the frequencies or the notes, so you can have them directly translated if you wanted to find, you know, if you're down here and you can't really hear it too well, or you don't have a subwoofer or whatever, you can see and make sure that your notes are in tune. But you probably don't want to do that, because you might not know what the timbre is, if the wave actually sounds good, because the timbre might be something different if you can't hear it, you know. So down here, you don't really have to pay attention to these, because they're below the threshold, so you can't really hear them. All you can hear is this one sine wave. It should be a little bit more narrow. It just goes straight up because it's a pure tone. But so we'll talk about the timbre, and basically the timbre is just those harmonics. Say these were actually above the hearing threshold. This would probably sound more like a sine wave. If you sound really crunch, or a saw wave, it'd be really crunchy. You can see all those crazy harmonics in there. So, but we'll add another wave to create harmonics, and you can see them coming up right now. And this wave is at the exact same frequency, so it's going to give you all of the multiples of this C note sine wave 132, and it's going to give you all the multiples. And if if you could hear it, you can hear it going, almost sounds like a filter, like, if that makes sense. So basically the timbre is just those additional harmonics that give it character, give it difference. The same reason a trumpet sounds different than a flute, because they have different style harmonics, and the same reason why a violin sounds similar to a vocal, because they have similar harmonics. Obviously they're all different, and that's why one person sounds different than another person, because they have different timbres. Give you one more look at that before we wrap it up. And you can see if you crank it all the way up and we add another one, see what happens. It brings it up even higher. So now it has frequencies all throughout the spectrum right now. It's kind of an annoying sound actually. But yeah, so that is the my quick wrap up. I'll give you the propagation is just movement through a medium, spear through water. Amplitude is basically loudness. Frequency is basically pitch. And timbre is the harmonics and character. Thanks again, guys. I hope you made it through the entire thing. I'll see you next week. Hopefully